Yeah, I'm in the gymnasium at the town of Namur, where about 200 or so people spent the night. This is where, as you can see, the beds behind me have been laid out by the municipal authorities in their attempts to provide lodging to the people that have been evacuated. Though it has to be said, only about 200 people here. The capacity is between 3 to 400 people. In total, that is just a fraction of the 4,000 people that have been evacuated from the town itself. And that's mostly down to the wave of solidarity, really, from local people, many people ending up spending the night with their friends and family in areas around the region that have not been quite so badly affected by the rising floodwaters. Having said that, many of the people here, they're pretty happy with the welcome that they've received here. They're also pretty happy with the organisation and the provision of both donations and really the supplies here, the bedding supplies, the food supplies and the spare clothes that many people have donated. Despite that, though, some people we have been meeting have been forced to head back to their homes to go and find any of their valuables, any of their belongings that they really can't do without. Most notably, quite a few people heading back to their homes to see if they can get some of the pharmaceutical medication that they can't get their hands on because of the rising flood waters. Many, though, of the people here are also biding their time. They realise they're going to have to be patient. So they've been informed by the authorities that they're not likely to be able to head back home until Sunday at the earliest.
Luke, the French Prime Minister was in Namur, where you are, earlier today. Tell us a bit more about his visit and what he had to say.
Yeah, Manuel Valls was visiting both these centres dotted around the region and also the centre of Namur itself to see for himself the situation there. And his message was one of both hailing really the work of the rescue workers, but also the solidarity of the people who have been here. But also one of the main parts of his message was one of vigilance, making sure that nobody really lets down their guard. That is, of course, as the rain does continue to fall pretty heavily throughout much of the day. The flood peak earlier was recorded at 4.63 metres. That's 35 centimetres higher than the 1910 high water marker. That's the real flood that many people do think of as pretty much the most important flood in the region for many, many years. As such, the waters are already higher than that. Upstream, there is signs of some kind of improvement at Montargis, where the floodwaters have receded to a certain extent. But even while we were in the centre of Namur itself, we did witness the water rising by about 10 or 15 centimetres in the couple of hours that we spent there. So clearly the situation there does require vigilance, but vigilance also downstream. And downstream, of course, is where the river here, the Loing, reaches the Seine, which runs into the river. It runs into central Paris, and of course that's really where the vigilance over the coming few days is likely to be based, given of course that the forecasts do indicate that the level of the Seine could well rise above 5.5 metres by about Friday. So clearly that's where the authorities now will be keeping their eyes on, is downstream from where we are now.